first thing you need to do is learn how to open a file in Photoshop. So you can always click File, and then the second option, Open. You can also click Control O, and you always want the Open function. You do not want to click Open As. That is not the one we start with. So if I click the second option, which is Open, then I want to switch to my T drive. So I always click on this PC, and then I can look down here where it says Student Share and then the letter T in parentheses, and I double click. I'm opening West Middle School and a Dropbox. I double click. I'm opening up Kendall because that's your teacher name. Double click. And then find your class period and double click. So I'm just going to do second period purple day, for example. So I'm going to scroll down and find the drawing that was mine. There also, file was saved as the name, so you could look alphabetically. So I'm going to open up my teacher sample. And some functions that you want to learn in Photoshop. You can zoom in and zoom out of this image. So if you look at the navigator window, this is called the navigator. This will let you zoom in and zoom out on the image. If I click this triangle and slide it to the right, I'm going to zoom really far into my picture. I can click this red box in the navigator and drag it around my thumbnail, and that's going to move me around my screen. So that is called the navigator. If your navigator disappears, you might see this little, I don't know, it's like a wheel or like whatever the captains of a boat use to steer the boat. I forget what that's called, but that is your navigator. If you click on that button, it will pop up also. Another shortcut to navigate is to look at your keyboard, find the control button, and click the minus sign. Control minus will zoom out. Find control, hold down control the whole time and click plus. Control plus will zoom in. So that is something helpful as we start to add color. So you're going to want to make your image full screen to begin with. So zoom out so it fills your screen like my example. And your first assignment is to learn how to make area selections and then fill those spaces with color. So if you look at your cheat sheet, tool number 4 is called the magic wand tool. So from the top over here, I'm going to match my diagram. Tool 4 is the magic wand tool. If you see quick selection on the front, hold your mouse over the top and the word will appear. You have to click and hold and choose magic wand if you happen to be on quick selection. Okay, the magic wand tool is going to select areas that are the same color. So in Photoshop, a selection is a set of dotted lines. So if I click my mouse in any of these white spots, you can see how the whole area is going to be selected. That's because that whole space is the same white color, and the computer can read the black drawing. So where it hits a black line, the selection will not be. So that's the first thing you need to learn about Photoshop is selections. So I need to make a plan for my design and decide what I want to start coloring first. So I might start with my name first, but you could do your background if you want. I'm just going to do my name. So I need to make a plan. If I want every single letter a different color, then I'm going to have to click on those one at a time with my magic wand tool. Once I have that selection made, now I'm going to choose my color. You've got a couple areas for color pickers. If you look at your cheat sheet, Tool 13 and 14 are your color pickers. Tool 13 is in front. That's called the foreground color. If I click on this front box, my color picker is going to appear. If I don't want this set color that comes on my screen first, I can click anywhere in the rainbow to change this color box. So I might want to set mine to purple. I can click anywhere in this box to choose a shade of purple. The new color on top is the one you have selected. So say I want a flat purple like this, I click OK. To fill this with color, there's a couple of ways I can do this. One option, if you look at the bottom of your cheat sheet under shortcut commands, says to click Shift plus Backspace plus Enter. So you're doing all three of those at the same time. Shift, Backspace, let go. Then it has to say foreground color and it has to say 100%. If it says those things, push OK or Enter. And it's going to set your selection to that front color. But if I do Shift Backspace and I hold down Backspace too long, it's going to delete the number 100. And if I try to click OK, this screen, invalid numeric entry. That's because the number 100 was missing. Make that appear again, then click OK, and you're good to go. So now I would choose my next areas. Maybe I want these highlight areas to be a very, very light purple because it's a reflection. So any place you have a really small space that you need to click on, you're going to want to zoom in. I could do Control plus, space bar. My mouse turns to a hand. If I hold space bar, I can click and drag on my screen to move that more into my view. So if you notice, when I Control plus, I zoom in. Now I can click these little spaces easier. So in Photoshop, anytime you want to add to a selection, look at your cheat sheet down at the bottom. It says to add to a selection, click and hold Shift. If I hold my Shift button and look at my mouse, I see a plus sign. That's how I know I'm about to add to a selection. So if I know I want these reflections to be the same color, I'm going to click and hold Shift and click inside those reflections. So now when I choose a color, they will all set to be the same. So I want it to be a really light purple reflection. Then I can do Shift backspace, Enter, and it fills that selection with color. If I decide I don't like that color and I want to delete it, there's some ways to delete in Photoshop. Look at your shortcut command. Control Z is undo. Look at your keyboard, click Control, click the Z, and it will undo that space. But Photoshop will only undo the last buttons that you clicked. So if I want to go farther back and undo things, I can do that through my history window. So if you come up at the top and click the word window and choose the word history, this history box will appear. This history box has just recorded every step I've made in Photoshop. So I can click up one layer and I will undo things on my screen. So if I want to get rid of the purple M, I can go backwards and now my purple M just disappeared. So this is another space, a way that you can undo things. If you don't see the word history on your box and it is hidden from view, it looks like this back arrow. So the back arrow, if you click it, will pop open your history box and you can undo things that way. Okay, so I'm going to fill that space with color again, Shift backspace. I already set my color, Enter, and now those areas become light purple. So if I want to get rid of my selection dots, these dots on my screen, to make them go away, I can just click any other spot on the screen, or I can click Control D, which is deselect, and it makes my dots go away. So now I'm going to zoom out, and now I'm going to work on the background space of my letter M. So if I know I want all these spaces to be the same color, I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to click all of those pieces, and I might want my background side to be a dark purple. Shift backspace, Enter, Control D will deselect. So that is one way that I can fill things with flat color. But I can also fill spaces with what's called a gradient. If I want to blend my colors together, I'm going to click foreground color and set that to a lighter color. So maybe I do a light blue. I'm going to click my background color. Maybe I want that to be dark blue. This. Okay, so on my screen right here, you can see that I've got set a light and a dark. Now I'm going to be switching to my gradient tool. This is tool number 8. So when your mouse hovers over these icons, you can see what it is. If you notice, in the corner is a little triangle. Any place you see a triangle, there's another tool hiding. So I'm going to click and hold, and there's my gradient tool. It's a little rectangle that fades from black to light gray. This tool, when you've got two colors chosen, you can click your mouse and drag your mouse on your screen, let go, and that tool is going to mix those colors. If I draw a small line, I get a stripe. If I draw a large line, I get a gradual fade. But it's only going to place the fade where my selection is. So I can click and drag in any direction and watch how my colors fade. So I might like that, and now I'm going to set fit edges around the rest of my E. I can go back to my Magic Wand tool, click on the side pieces, hold Shift if I know I want them all to be the same color. Okay, so what just happened here was instead of clicking the white area, I accidentally clicked my black line because I wasn't zoomed in enough. So I'm going to Control plus to zoom in. I'm going to undo that and start over. So I'm going to click the white, hold down Shift, click the white spot. And now I'm going to choose a background color. Maybe it's going to be a really deep dark color. Shift backspace enter, Control D, Control minus to zoom out, and I can see what that looks like. So now I might set my highlights. Hold Shift to make more than one selection, and now I'm going to choose a really, really light color. Shift backspace enter, Control D to get rid of the dots, and now I can see how that's starting to fill. So I'm going to proceed in the same fashion to fill all the color on my screen. I don't want a whole lot of white showing when I grade this assignment. I'm looking to see that you've used colors that work well together. Your name should still be easy to read, so your name should not be the same colors as the background so it disappears. And then the next video tutorial will show you a few helpful tools on how to make some corrections, and then how we save this assignment and turn in the assignment so that I can grade what you've created.